how do we do it as young people with all this information that's out there, right? How do we narrow it in and just decide? And I've come up with a few things,
Yeah.
That fantasy league, you gotta have it. Gotta have a fantasy league, man.
Yeah, what do you mean by fantasy league?
Fantasy league is a group of people, of influencers in this world that are at a higher level than you are, right? And they give you some sort of knowledge, wisdom. They have books. They're successful. Fantasy league is successful people, just like in the NBA.
That's interesting.
In the football,
Yeah.
so you know how we have our fantasy leagues when we're putting together
I got Tom Brady.
Okay, what if we had a fantasy
It's so
league?
embarrassing. I didn't know any other football players. I was like Tom Brady and that the other guy. Yeah. God,
What
that's so
if?
embarrassing.
What if we had a fantasy league for our own life? Our belief system, our faith, our finances, our passion, purpose, goals, wants, desires, right? If we can hone that in on 4 or 5 people, right? People you can count on your hand. And no matter what.
Can it be people that you don't know or people that you do know? Like, can you mix it?
You can mix it.
Okay.
I prefer someone that is way
out of
ahead
your
of you.
league, just way
Way out of your zone. Like, you can't call, text, email them. That's a fantasy league.
Okay, gotcha.
Just like you can't call, text Brady. You can't say what's up to him.
Yeah.
To fantasy, right? And so we put this in place, right? When I work with people, I'm like, we gotta get your fantasy league in order, man. Where are you getting your information, right? From whom and why? Okay, because if I'm getting information from CNBC, Fox, mom and dad, my older brother, his girlfriend, the nephew, the friends at school, I'm gonna get all this data, no action, right? So if we just focused in on the fantasy league,
I love that.
all right,
I like that.
I got Denzel Washington, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Tony Robbins. These are my fantasy league guys.
Fantasy league. That's a solid lineup.
Team.
Yeah.
Right. Why? Right now. Okay. Why? Denzel Washington taught me how to put God first. So that's solving.
I saw that video.
That's
I saw
solving
that speech of his.
That's
where he talks about that.
Yeah. That's solving the faith. Also putting yourself aside and becoming of service to someone. That's customer service. That's a solid business plan to become successful. Grant Cardone, right? Who's got my money, right?
Yeah.
How do I get within proximity of the money?
Yeah.
Because we're living in an economic.
He's a straight money guy.
Straight money guy, right? So, all right.
Some people need that.
Got my finance. Boom. Gary Vaynerchuk, man. This is how I met you. Technically, this is how that our relationship, I think, built even more because I have my fantasy league in order, so that when I go out and meet people that are speaking my fantasy language, okay, boom, we're working together.
Whoa,
look where we
that
are.
makes sense.
That makes sense, right?
Fantasy language.
Exactly.
If I'm talking about the same things that he's talking about, when anybody on your fantasy lineup, then you can be like, okay, then me and this guy are on the same page.
Right. Now I can know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
I know, like, and trust you now. And you're speaking my language, right? You're resonating with my fantasy league and what they're saying, because these are millionaire, billionaire type people, right? With that mindset.
Yes.
And if you're talking like them, we're going
on the same page.
We're going places.
I love that. That's awesome.
Right.
And by the way, if you could just give the people a little bio about yourself, we kind of just jumped into this.
All right. Yeah. So, my name is Denzel, not Washington. Okay. 22 years old.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur, and I am on a mission.
A mission.
Alex, I am on a mission, all right? I want to help people understand personal finance, all right? I want to teach financial literacy, all right? The main mission is sustainability. How do we conquer money? How do we understand how money works so that we can become of service to people, to the planet, to the animals, to the environment, everything, right? So before I started my business, right, let's get a little, let's find out the
what got
history,
you into the industry,
the core, right? And I'm gonna go a little faith-based right here, and just say, listen, I became born again in 2016, and God blessed me with spiritual financial wisdom. I firmly believe that everyone has a spiritual talent, okay, and everyone possesses a spirit, right? You have this, this consciousness, right? Whether you access it or not, it's there. And there's a certain talent that each and every one of us have.
Yes.
And I believe it's our purpose to expose that, serve, and be of service to people, right? So there's my talent, spiritual financial wisdom. Why was it given to me? That's a tough question, right? I can dive deep into, before I was born, but to really hone it in is I've never been around money. Money has always been a problem. Money has always been the root cause in my household for destruction of relationships, people going to prison, going away, doing time, getting in trouble, not pursuing their dreams. So I would say that's why it was given to me, by God.
You don't want other people to go through the same things that your family went through.
No.
Okay.
Right. And it was this mixed with anger, right? Because as you're growing up in your adolescent, your teenage years, right? So we're growing, and you see what's around you. You get this anger. Now there's a way to channel that, right? You can either go do bad things, or you channel that anger and you educate yourself to get out of whatever you're in, right? So I would say I was blessed with that. And for the next 2 years, I started to just study 3 things. I studied God, I studied the woman, and I studied money.
The woman?
Yeah. So I'm like, why? Well, those are the 3 things that I wanted. I wanted to know God. I wanted to know why He gave me this talent. What? Like, whoa! How did that occur? Right? I wanted to access the power from within, right? Fantasy League, Tony Robbins, unleash the power from within. Okay, we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
The woman, right? I wanted a partner. I wanted someone I can trust with everything to help me succeed, right? My entire fantasy league talks about that. You need a partner, right? You need someone that you can in it to win it to the end. You're with them to the end. That could be a business relationship. That could be a personal relationship, a love relationship. Either way, you have someone that, is for you.
Yes.
Your confidant. Right? And money. I wanted to conquer, overcome, master money so that it wouldn't master me. I don't want to let money decide whether or not I can have that steak or not. Whether I can have the cake and eat it too. Whether I can go on that vacation or not. Start that business or not. So I studied those 3 things. And then a breakthrough occurred, right? My mom, for the past 1.5 years, I started teaching her about her finances. Hey, Mom, do this with your money. And I want you to start, building some credit under your name. And here's how we kill debt. I had all this knowledge. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. I was like, whoa, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What is it? Okay. Finally, 2018, I made a decision. I'm going to start a business. I have value. I taught my mom how to get out of debt, how to increase her cash flow, lower expenses, and raise her credit score, all using her own income. That's powerful for moms out there that don't have time to look at a business opportunity, that they have all these hats already. You got the mom hat, the wife hat, the girlfriend hat, the cooking hat, the laundry, everything. They wear all these hats. All right? And if I can show them or the people, look, using your own income, we can solve these 4 issues. We get these 4 issues in line, that's going to enable us, it's going to empower us to look at something, a cause, a mission, a business, some sort of service or product to offer to the world.
Yes.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that occurred 2018. I started my business, January, February-ish. Got my LLC.
We met a little bit
and
after
we
that.
met a little bit afterwards. And I believe in divine appointments, man. I believe, like, you gotta have that faith, because if I take the money away, what's left over? If I took everything away from you, right? Or if everything was taken away from you, which usually happens to a lot of people when they're starting, when they're trying to build something, life happens, right? How do we keep going? I think it's that inner power, that faith inside us that we possess, that we just have to access. Okay? So, with all that being said, I teach personal finance. I teach financial literacy. I show people how to create their own tax-free bank, right? How to conquer finances, master it, money mastery. Let's get it in order. Let's do it.
I need to somehow like do a story or have a story like you just told on how you got into your industry, because I'm just like, oh, I do social media. Yeah, I'm a social media marketer. That's it. But you have a nice story behind it where, like, okay, how'd you get actually, involved and invested into it? So
for you,
I like that.
For you, it's there. I think what happens for me, I used to never share this in front of people at all, because it was personal. I believe you have a personal story that maybe you're just not sharing because it's so painful, maybe, or deep. So if you're willing to say, listen, I'm going to put myself aside and I'm going to share this personal story as to why I do what I do. Not just because I do it because it helps people and it makes a lot and we make money and no. There's something deeper inside that you have that you need to share. And
I need to think about that.
Watch how your business and everything around you will explode. Right? And if you just believe in the process, it takes time, and just absorb that. Whoa, the things that will occur, the people that you'll meet. Look at us.
How do we meet?
How did we meet, man? Let's go over that.
Yeah. And actually, could you just come up on the mic a little bit? Actually, yeah. So basically, how we met was I actually had a meeting with one of my clients at just a Starbucks, and just a random Starbucks. And then the guy next to me, after the meeting was finished, this random guy that I've never met before, he was like, "Oh, you do social media? You do marketing?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, definitely." He's like, "Oh, I got a guy. He needs marketing. He needs social media." He called him on the spot. I talked to this guy for maybe 2 minutes. He called Denzel. "Hey, I got this guy. He's really busy, but I think he could squeeze you in. Yeah, I'm gonna text him your info." That just random guy, Joel, texted me your info. I called you. We set up a meeting. We communicated back and forth. We set up another meeting, and then we got to working together officially. So yeah,
like we are in business together. Like we're you're helping me, and I'm doing whatever I can to help you out and build something. Let's do it, man. Look,
I feel that because we both have similar mindsets, but then we're both also starting from the jump.
Yeah. And how important it is. Both young.
It's hard to find other young people that have similar values and similar just mindset and just similar. Like I think other people's fantasy lineup might be Lil Pump or Little Xan. I don't know. Their fantasy lineup might be a little different, but your fantasy lineup probably like at least 2 or 3 people I would take and put in my fantasy lineup. So yeah, I guess once you have the fantasy lineups somewhat similar, then you can kind of tell, okay, me and this guy are gonna, we can link up, connect.
With a proper fantasy league, you'll be able to acquire your circle of influence, the people around you, right? They say you are the 5 people you hang around.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So if I have this foundation of this fantasy league, that this information that's coming towards my way, I don't listen to anything else other than those people right there, because I want to be like them. I want to have their success. I want to do what they do. I want to jump on their mission. then your circle of influence starts to build, because if you talk and sound like them, you're going to attract people that talk and sound like them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right? So we get that circle of influence in order. Okay? And we just keep, the wheel keeps spinning, right? And we keep going. So, from the jump. But yeah, that's how we met. Right?
It's a chance thing.
I was at a random network marketing meeting, from another guy that invited me. And I came for the simple reason. I said, look, I have a business, and I want to learn how to market this. I want to, build my brand.
Yes.
And nobody there could help me, but I asked either way. And that person, boom, dude, you gotta talk to this guy, Alex. This guy's got something. He's doing something.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's us working together at the age that we're at. Because what I know is that you and I are going to be in business for a very long time. Okay, I've said it. I'm going to be in business for the next 70 years. Okay? I don't know how long you're going to be in business, but I can assume it's going to be right around that number. Okay? Because we love what we do, right? I know you love what you do. You would not invite me to do this. You would not, be so caring in my own business and just have this immense amount of value information to just give to me, right? Even before we made that exchange, that business transaction, right? What did we have to do? Like you originally were pitching me this, and then you came back with something else, and
it was actually more inexpensive. Yeah, I just felt that. Because first I talked about Facebook ads for you and how to get new clients, but then I really thought about it. I'm like, okay, I don't know if we should focus on trying to get you new clients right now. It might be more smart to just focus on branding and focus on your social media things, So, yeah, that's how it was a lot more inexpensive for you, and I made less money off it, but it's not about the money.
No,
I would never pitch a client, not even pitch, just offer a service to somebody that I didn't think it was right for them. And especially at the price point, you know, even if it's an established business and they have a lot of clients and they have the money to spend, it's just I'm not comfortable with promoting something or offering something that I know we could do similar work for cheaper, or we can do something else that would benefit them better. So I can't really,
makes sense. I'm experiencing that in my business right now. See, when I first started out, I have my life insurance license. And I teach a concept that's very, complex and unfamiliar to the average mom or dad or household, right? So I had to decide, man, am I gonna just, be pitching this product? And yeah, I could probably make a lot of money just by selling, life insurance, which is, a very known product.
Yes.
Attached with, the concept that I teach. But if mom, dad, son, daughter doesn't have the financial understanding of how to put that money to work, or how to even use, the policy itself to maximize, to offset costs. I can dive into all these different terminologies when talking about money. So if they don't understand it, then I would be just another financial advisor out there, another wealth fund manager, another financial specialist, with a fancy title and a nice desk in a big company.
Desk. Yeah.
It's
we're not really looking to go, the extra mile and really help them understand their finances and what they're spending, what their expenses, and then how can they really just long term be successful with their finances.
And we're living in a world where we lack that. We're lacking that
You probably know the percentage of how many people, I think, live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. What's the percentage on that? You probably know.
80%.
Yeah.
Or even more. It's probably more. But you can safely say 80% of Americans.
8 out of 10 people in this neighborhood live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Even if they make a lot of money.
That's
See, we're in Cooper City.
Yeah.
It's a nice area. Nice roads, nice cars. Okay, big homes. There's a pool. Every home's house, got a pool. But if I was to really look at their 4 numbers, right? So when I work with someone, there's 4 numbers that I need to acquire. Income, expenses, debt, and cash flow. Okay, the most important number is the cash flow, right? So if a person makes $10,000 a month and they spend $10,000 a month,
which happens more often than people think. People think once they hit that 6-figure salary, 6-figure income, then they're good. But the more people make, the more they spend.
Correct. So it's not about making more money, and that's what my industry does. In the financial industries, we teach how to make a lot of money, which is vital. But if you don't understand how money works, you'll always be chasing it. And that goes into serving, the mission, sustainability. How can you actually be of service to someone if you're always chasing the money? You're always tackling the money. And then, well, you get those people that say, well, you need money. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone says, dude, you need money. You're in an economical world. You have to produce. Correct. Right? That is, I'm not going to, deny that. What I'm saying is to be free from the money, right? To release that master, you serving money, you're going to have to learn how the money works. And you can start with very little. Straight from the jump. It may not be a business.
That's the second time that we threw that in there, from the jump.
From the jump.
Yeah.
It may not be a business. What if it's from the jump, the beginning of your life? Right? You're 18 years old. 18 years old, right? You got a job. You're working. You're figuring it out. You're going to go to school or college, right? You're going to make a decision. Right? What am I going to do? Okay? Imagine if you knew how to manage your money, how to understand how money works, right? How the wealthy use money.
Especially young people.
Especially young people.
Because in my situation, personally, I'm lucky that my dad always taught me about credit. Don't spend more than you make. Like, he taught me like basic things, but really just, it's stuck in my head over time. And now I think it's a 700 or 800 credit score with like no debt and savings. He always said like, oh, save the hundreds, but then spend the 20s. So like if I made in high school, let's say $400 a week or $400 every 2 weeks, I would keep $300 to save and then spend the extra like $85 or $100 that was left over.
Okay.
And then that just taught me to live within my means, don't spend more than I make, and not look for, that materialistic lifestyle that most people look for. Like, make money to live. You have to enjoy life. You can go out to nice dinners and you can have quality clothing. Like, it is what it is. But to chase constantly, just chase that new car, the new Versace shoes, the new vacation, like that's not in my, thought process. So I'm lucky in that sense. But most people, they grew up just looking at, athletes, rappers, actors, actresses that have all this fancy, materialistic things. So and even with credit, like most people really don't understand, like with credit, they're just like, oh, I'll buy that bed or I'll buy that furniture. I'll just put it on credit. I'll pay $20 a month or the minimum payment. But, they don't realize they're going to keep paying forever and ever and ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the interest. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that the schooling system, like the public schooling system at least, doesn't really give that information to all the students. It really depends on the parents mostly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And this goes into like why? Okay, why is it like this? Well, it's simple. There's people, right? You got the higher ups in the world, the world leaders and the big companies, institutions. They want to put you to sleep when it comes to your money. They don't want you to know. Right? Because if you know, you can help a lot of people break free from the trap. Okay? Right? We can learn a lot from our history. Right? If we were just to focus on history of money, right? In the last 100 years, what has been taught in the last 100 years, right? If we look at, the start of the Federal Reserve, okay, IRS, these things are merely 100 years old. IRAs, 401ks, Roths, REITs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all these things merely 100 years old. Okay, so your government is teaching us, and they put this in the public system and through college and through your degrees, and they teach you all these things. But what if we went back a little bit? Because we know the earth is definitely older than 100 years.
Definitely.
We know that. Okay, we don't know if it's millions or billions, but we know it's More than 100, definitely, right? Okay, so how do we go back about 2,000 years, let's just say? What existed in terms of currency, finances, money? There's three things. Real estate, banking, and insurance.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
This has been around for centuries. The concept of banking, the concept of insurance, and the concept of real estate, right? Before Christ, right? What were the emperors doing? They were conquering land. They were obtaining land, building cities. That's real estate. Okay, then it went into, later in the centuries as we became, more developed in the industrial, then we started acquiring land. People started buying and selling property. Banking has existed for as long as we've known. The idea of banking, like a bank holds money and then lends that same money out to someone else, and then that loan that they made to that person pays back the principal plus interest. And the bank never used their own money, or even if they did, they're not wasting it, spending it like we Americans do.
And technically, banks don't really have, they don't have enough gold, right, for how much money they're loaning out. That's a fact.
Right. They have the ability to loan 90% of, it's like nine times what
they have actually have in gold.
What they actually have, right?
So technically, they don't really have the money.
Right.
Technically.
They make the money back off the interest and the loans that they're giving via the credit score that person is applying and the amount.
That's why gold rushes have happened. I don't know about recently, but maybe in the 2000s, I think in a foreign country, I think in South America, there was a gold rush because I think the dollar in that specific country was being so inflated. So then people were like, I just want I want my money in gold.
Right.
So then there were gold rushes and the banks ran out of gold, and it was major issues. Yeah.
But so, why do we need to know that? Banking, real estate, and insurance. Like, how can I adopt these three concepts and apply it into my household? Because that's where it starts, right? So there's two concepts that I teach: velocity banking and infinite banking. It's phase 1 and phase 2, right? Velocity banking is showing an individual or business how to use their capital, the income that they're making, using other people's money or credit to pay their expenses or acquire assets, and the income that asset produces plus the money that they're making already from their job, right? Mom and dad, they work, money comes into the household, right? How do they use that as leverage? How do we use debt and income as leverage, right? So just imagine all the credit cards that the average household has and the debt, right? How do we kill that? Using our own income. Okay, so if I make X amount of dollars and it goes into my paycheck, before I pay a bill, I'm going to use my credit to pay the expense. It's going to buy me 30 to 60 days to pay that off. What's going to happen in 30 to 60 days? You're going to get paid 2 to 4 times, whether you're bi-weekly or weekly. So not only are you having the cash you already had in your checking account from your paycheck that was going to pay the bill, now you're also going to have 2 to 4 more paychecks to then pay that expense. And guess what? You used credit, other people's money, to pay your expenses, and then you paid you back. You paid yourself back. In the process, if you had debt on that credit card already, and you're making these chunk payments, right? If your expenses are like $2,000, and you're using credit to pay all your expenses, because nowadays, right, you could pay anything with credit.
Yeah.
So how do we like get it? Really get it? Right?
So if you could explain it in 1 minute, how would you explain it?
1 minute.
Because I've heard it a few times, and I understand it. But if somebody like has no idea about anything that you're talking about,
yeah,
like what's one basic, just super, like value-packed minute that you can give?
Value-packed minute. All right.
About what you're talking about.
Gotcha. So velocity banking.
Yes.
I want you to think of a triangle. Okay. There's 3 points. On the left side, you have your paycheck. On the right side, you have credit and debt. And on the top, you have your expenses. All right. I'm simply saying use the credit first, or the line of credit, or whatever. Pay your expenses and dump all of your income into that credit line, because it's going to lower the balance of whatever debt was already on it, right? You were paying the minimum payment plus interest on top, right? So we're going to recapture on interest. We're going to recapture on expense costs, right? Things to, use the credit with. We're going to kill debt. We killed the debt. Now the debt becomes revolving, all right? So it's simple. Use credit to pay your expenses. Use your income to pay you back.
That's it.
That's
a simplified version.
Get that.
All right. And actually, could you scoot up a little bit into the shot?
Yeah. Get that, please.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so,
it's vital. We need that.
Yeah, because the longer version, I understand it, but to somebody that is just listening, they could be a little confused.
They'd be like,
unless they see you in person, unless they can ask you the questions.
Right.
I think simplifying it in that 1 minute could help people. And then they could do research and learn more about it.
And they can look it up. You can just look up velocity banking. Just the term of it is simply saying the velocity is the speed at which money is being used. Right? If I can use money twice in 2 places, the same $1,000 to pay my expenses, and then use it again to pay me back, okay, we have something here. We're stepping into higher level thinking of how the wealthy use their money, right? Most Americans, they're living on a linear scale, right? You get a paycheck, you then get it deposited into your checking account, which pays bills, and then there's money left over, right? Which is your cash flow. Okay, what do they do with that cash flow? They save it to spend it later. They save to spend later, right? They put it in investment accounts, little dollars. What are you gonna get? Little returns. Okay, you're hoping to earn anywhere from 6 to 12% on the money that you invest. Meanwhile, you're paying 15 today on debt, interest, taxes, fees. You're paying someone else to grow your money. I'm simply saying redirect everything to you. You're your best investment. What did Warren Buffett say? The best investment you can make is in yourself. What was the second thing he said? Never invest in something you don't know. What are you doing? Why are you paying?
I could never imagine investing in a business or even lending a friend $1,000 like for equity in a business I have no idea about. To me, like that seems insane. But for people to invest their money in other things like maybe stocks, bonds, mutual funds, etc., it seems to be normal to not have any idea what's going on.
Right.
With any type of hidden fees and things like that.
But why is it like that?
Yeah.
Why?
It seems like there's a lot of, I wouldn't say misinformation, there's a lot of, I guess, disinformation to where people are just uneducated and there's not a ton of information out there to help people.
History.
Like the average person,
History is why. The last 100 years, what have we been fed? Think about it. Just really think it through. What has mom and dad taught you? They taught you, save your money, go get a good job, get a good career, pay your bills, save for a rainy day, don't talk to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers.
Right? Like all these little things that mom and dad taught, they're all wrong, straight up wrong when it comes to your personal finance. It's invalid. It It doesn't work, man. To simply tell me that in 40 years I'm going to have this nest egg off someone else's performance. No, man. I fed their nest egg. That's what I did with my own money. Right? So just look at history. What did your ancestors do with their money? They knew about banking.
I mean, they also didn't have iPhones, though. So what's up?
Yeah.
Come on, they didn't have this laptop and this podcast and all this stuff, you know.
This wealth of information.
No, I'm just kidding. I know, because I like when people say, I wish I lived in the 20s.
No.
You know, I wish I lived in the 30s. I'm like,
no.
Yeah, okay. You'd be, you know, all your kids would die of diseases because they didn't have medicine and technology.
Be in the Great Depression.
And yeah, you're gonna live in the Great Depression and
World Wars.
It's a simpler time. Okay, yeah, have fun with no technology, no iPhones, no anything. Even though you go on Instagram 10 hours a day.
No,
I just find it funny when people say that.
Yeah.
No, but there's definitely lessons that you can learn from looking back into the past.
Oh, definitely. That's with anything.
That's why history is more important than people think as a subject in school, because you can look and see, okay, what have dictators done in the past? Yeah. What have other leaders done in the past in a more positive way? And are there leaders today that are replicating those same tendencies?
I think the best teachers in the world know their history. Know where you come from. Know what stemmed out of your heritage, your culture. Yeah, that's my belief. I think the best teachers in the world know their history on their particular subject of whatever they're teaching. You know,
I mean, even in general, it's good to have an idea of different things. You know, like Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, conquerors.
Yeah. What did they do to create wealth for their city, for their family? Right? How did they do it? And how do we sort of, apply that same concept today? What can we do? How can we get past it? So,
and even with the advancement of things like, it's interesting how, like, bananas, they used to be like really distasteful, like they didn't taste good, they were bitter, and they had seeds in them. But then now, over time, it's crazy how now you have these really, like, just really ripe yellow bananas that are really sweet, no seeds in them. So I guess they learned from history, and we're able to make that just through technology somehow create a banana with no seeds and that's sweeter.
You just threw me off, but I love it.
Yeah.
That was good. So let's see what's next.
So I have some questions for you.
Let's go.
I have some financial questions.
All right.
So for business people, what are some tips that you can give them, whether it be maybe saving on their taxes or saying, using a room in their house as office space and paying rent on that space? Like, what are some little tips or tricks that you can give to business people to maybe reduce their taxable income or help them with cash flow? Like, what could you give in that sense?
So are we talking about people that already have a business, or people that are
have a business?
Starting?
Have a business.
They have a business.
Yeah, big or small.
Big or small. I mean, what I like to focus on the small. Big business, they know how to make money already. They're doing it. So there's only so much that they can apply. They can tweak. They can make tweaks, which is velocity banking, and use other people's money. There's so much out there, right? So that would be for big business. Apply that concept. Use credit to pay the expenses, pay you back, right? Adopt the banking method for your business. Understand what the major banks and corporations do. So if I'm talking to a big business, if they're not doing it, I don't think they're that big yet, right? But let's just say I'm talking to a big business.
No, let's just say for most people, small. Like, what are some tips and tricks that you can give to a small business person?
Small business person
who's looking to maybe save on their taxes,
right,
or things like that.
So I'll use like most small businesses, it's one. Right, it's one person, or they're a group, couple employees, and typically they have a job and their business, right? With your job, if you have a job and a business, first thing you should do, you need to fill out that W-4 properly. Claim those allowances. 9, just dive right into it, right? 6 to 9 exemptions, right? Allowances, I mean. Okay, how do you do that? Just add up all your expenses throughout the year. It says it right there. What's your adjusted expenses? Your adjusted, deductions for the entire year. Log everything, right? Get it all down. Okay. And then you divide that number by whatever it says at the bottom portion. Boom, you're going to get your allowances. All right. You don't need to be paying taxes throughout the year. Okay. The IRS doesn't even want you to. They say it on their website, irs.gov. Was it like 70%, 80% of Americans overpaid on their taxes? Of those 80%, how many are small business owners? So for that's tip number 1. Fill out that W-4 immediately, properly. And you got to fill it out every single year. Track your expenses. You need to start tracking. You need to know where every dollar is going.
Even gas, even things like gas, even things like car mileage.
Everything. Okay? Educate yourself. Invest in yourself. Download those little apps, Mile IQ, like cash flow manager apps, little things that to help you. We're living in a world where you can automate like everything, right? Let's see what else. The third thing is you need to get in touch with me. Okay, I need to teach you. I want to show you about velocity banking. Yeah. Right? The real estate investors use the velocity banking method to kill their mortgages in a third of the time. So if they have a 30-year mortgage, they're going to kill it in less than 10 years. How do they do that? Using their own income. Velocity banking. Right? How do they kill debt? How do they, pay off cars so fast? And how do people pay things off so fast but make the same money as you? Right? Or that small business, whatever it is. Velocity banking. Very simple. All right? Let's see, what else can someone adopt immediately? Get your fantasy league in order. Right? Search YouTube, watch some videos, find people that you like. Yeah, I like what they talk about. I love it. That's going to develop your circle of influence. So everything revolves on investing in yourself, acquiring the education for you. Right? So that is the floor, the groundwork. Don't just think you can buy your way out of your problems, right? Or your whatever struggles you have. There's no product that you can buy that's gonna solve your issue, right? You make the decision. You decide, right? Let's see, what else? What other questions you got?
I have a question. That's interesting. So, as a young business person that's just starting out, how old are you? 22, 23?
22, man.
22. I'm 20, so I get the same question too. So, what about when people say, well, "What do you know? You're only 22. How can you help?" Like, let's say if a 40-year-old asks you, "How can you help me with my finances? I'm almost double your age. What do you know?" I'm only saying it because I get asked the same question about marketing. So you've been asked that question, definitely. So what's your response?
It's funny because I actually don't get asked that question a lot.
That's interesting.
I really don't, because I believe that when the value is high enough, right, the experience, the cost of whatever it is I'm selling goes away. So when they ask me that question, I'm going to revert to raising the value of me. Why you want to work with me? I'm on a mission. I want to help moms.
Moms specifically.
Yeah. Right? I have a passion. I have a desire. Right? I want to work. I want to make a difference, an impact on this world. Can you help me with that? I'm shifting it back to them. So for those older people that question my credibility, so to speak, right? The simple fact is, I can simply say, listen, I don't know nothing. And I'll just revert it back to you. What are you doing?
Yes.
What are you working? Yes. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, is it working for you?
That's similar to my response, because I've gotten asked the question. Because I'm dealing with businesses and they may be a little more cerebral with spending their money. So they're like, well, what do you know? You're only 20. How are you going to help me with my marketing? I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing for marketing now? Is it working? Are you getting the results that you wanted? Most likely not. So, okay, well, let's look at this other option that I provide, and let's see if it works. We'll try for a month or two and go from there. So, no, I think it's just funny because I get asked that question pretty often.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, dude? Yeah. We're that millennial generation that's living in this time. So we are the best to be able to give advice on things like marketing, personal finances. Understand that 40-year-old grew up in a different time. In a different time.
They didn't grow up with technology.
They grew up where college was half the expense that it is today. They grew up where pay was different. It worked different. The way you got paid, the amount, right? I think the average millennial makes 20% less than what that baby boomer made at that same age back then.
That's
Yet, we're able to still function, get our iPhones and acquire, start businesses fresh. Man, there's something that these kids know. See, we're breaking free from the mistakes mom and dad made. That's what we're doing. That's why we're most qualified. So age is not a factor, nor is experience. Everything is value. So I want to, whenever I'm asked, how long you been doing this? What's your experience? What are your credentials?
I get asked the same exact questions.
Okay.
Yes.
I just revert. Listen, how can I bring the value up in this person's head, like today, right now? What can I do to give value? And then the scale is gonna tip to the other side. The value is gonna be so high, they never ask the question. When the value is that high. They won't
might think
even
about
ask.
it in the
They
beginning.
might think about it, but they won't even ask.
But they won't even ask once you start.
They know, like, and trust
giving
you.
the value.
What else can we? What else?
Spit back at me. I haven't asked you a ton of questions, man.
Yeah, man. So I want to talk about why from the jump. Why are you doing this?
Why from the jump?
Yeah, why are you doing this?
So why am I doing the podcast?
Yeah.
So there are a few reasons why I want to do this podcast, why I'm doing it. Number one is just to bring value to people, specifically 18 to 28-year-olds who are interested in business, who have a business, who want to be involved in the industry, whether it be with marketing, sales, customer service, etc. Bring them value by interviewing people like you who are of a similar age and similar mindset, and just talking a little bit about what you do and providing them that value. Because then I have people like real estate people on, and like fitness people, like just people from different industries that can provide value for their specific industry and give their experiences, so that people that are our age can learn from my mistakes, your mistakes, and other people's mistakes, and not have to go through them themselves maybe.
Okay.
So I think that's probably number one. Number two is to have a platform, because with Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all these different platforms, there's not many people that are actually using these platforms to get the exposure for themselves and get attention to themselves in a good way. Not really, I don't want to be an Instagram model, and just get eyeballs on me. Like, I want to provide value, but then also have a platform to where I can, add value to people, get exposure for me, my business, and just, have somewhere where I can go and give my 2 cents. So I think that's probably, the second biggest reason.
Okay.
The third reason is fun.
It is fun.
It is fun.
This is cool.
Yeah.
I like this. I mean, we're just sharing to people how important it is to start, right? And let's go over failure. I think that is vital. So, do you have maybe one failure that you've experienced so far in your business? A failure.
Well, definitely, right? Of course.
And
in my first business specifically. So,
first business.
For people that don't know, my first business was a healthy meal delivery company. I started out of my house, cooking for a family friend. She told people. My stepmom posted on Facebook, and word of mouth got around, and I started getting clients.
Nice.
So I did that for a year and a half, and it was up and down because I had no business experience. So I didn't really know, okay, I had to market, I had to invest back in the business, and I moved into a kitchen space. Like, everything was going good, but the passion really wasn't there. I didn't see myself doing it long term. It was a very tedious, grueling process to buy the food, get the employees there on time, get the kitchen space, schedule the time, and do the whole process. And I just didn't feel that I was going to do it long term. But also, the biggest mistake I made with the business was I didn't invest back into the business. In the sense of doing something like a podcast or doing any type of, Facebook advertising, any type of marketing. Mm-hmm. And I was 18, 19 at the time, so I didn't really have bills. I had like car insurance, gas, food. I didn't pay rent. So any money that I had left over, I would just keep in my savings. I wouldn't do anything with it. Major mistake. Because I in my head, I was like, oh, all the clients I have right now, I'm going to keep them forever. Like, they're just going to stay with me. They love the food, good reviews and everything. Yeah. They're going to stay. Okay. I didn't realize that you have to find other clients when those clients stop buying your food.
Drop off.
When they drop off. Yeah. Because they are. So I think the biggest mistake I've made in business was not investing enough money back into my first business. When I had the money, it wasn't that I didn't have the money. Right. I was making X amount, and my expenses were probably maybe a third of that for a living life. So I had, $1,000 or $2,000 left over a month, but instead of investing it back in through marketing, through maybe influencer marketing, like sponsoring bodybuilders or fitness people with the meals to increase the exposure, I just kept in my savings. And that was kind of my scarcity mindset at the time, where it's like, oh, there's only so much money, like I don't want to risk it. I just want to, hold on to the money and like keep it. Mm-hmm. Major mistake. Right. Because now the clientele didn't really pan out to where I wanted to be. I was at 15, 20 clients a week when I was projecting to be at 30 or 40 in the new kitchen. So now the overhead was up. Now I needed employees, delivery drivers, these expensive delivery bags. Like, it just all, and I didn't have the experience a lot. And, it was a great experience overall, but it didn't pan out. And I wasn't in debt, or I wasn't losing money. I just wasn't making enough money and I didn't see myself doing it long term to, justify me continuing with that business as I was doing my marketing business. Right. So I did learn that, you have to, with any money that's left over, don't be fancy. Don't try to get a new watch. Don't look to go to the mall all the time to buy new clothes and things like that. Like, any money that's left over after, okay, I spent this X, Y, and Z on this overhead, and my expenses to live are X amount a month. Like, what's that in between? It could be $100, could be $1,000. Just take that money, put it back into the business. Don't hold on to that little bit of money, because it might seem like a lot of money at the time, maybe $500, $1,000 extra a month. It might seem like, ooh, like that's, a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of your life, that's not a lot of money. Right. You can't really do anything with that in the grand scheme of things, especially if you have a business. Mm-hmm. So why hold on to that little bit of money and be tight with it and be scared when you can take that, whether it be $750, don't hold on to it, leave it in your savings where it's not going to do anything. It's going to sit there. Put it back into the business through marketing, through branding, through influencer marketing, anything just to increase the exposure, build the brand of your business. And then, you might not have the fancy stuff right now, but instead of buying, a Honda that you can't afford, you can buy a Honda dealership in 10 years, 15 years. Mm-hmm. So I think just having that willingness to invest back into the business, and then also thinking long term. So like not focusing on like what I'm doing right now. Right. Like not focusing on, oh, I wish I could go on that trip or buy that thing right now, because I don't need it. Right. I don't want it. Mm-hmm. I just want to build the business, grow it to where it has a strong foundation, so that in the next 10, 20, 30 years, it'll be successful. Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably my biggest, I don't know if I'd call it a failure. I would just call it my biggest mistake.
Biggest mistake.
Yes. Yeah. What about you?
I've had a very recent eye-opening mistake and failure. Mm-hmm. Eye-opening. And so like most people when they start out, right, like me, you work, you have a job, right? You have to make money, and then you take that money and you educate yourself and you learn and you start a business and you start, trying to produce an income and sell and do all these things, right? I would say right off the bat, when you get on this journey that you're gonna dedicate to fulfilling your passion, your dream, hitting that mission, right? Do not delay. Don't delay. I would say a big mistake for me is I delayed a lot. Big time.
What do you mean delayed?
Meaning I wasn't getting on social media.
You were pondering.
I wasn't sharing.
You were planning.
I'm a planner.
Which isn't bad.
It's not.
To a
it's
certain
not bad.
extent.
To a certain extent, you have to have a balance and everything. I was planning. I was building. I was planning and building and planning and educating. And I bought so much education for myself. I invested in coaches, in mentors, and I forgot about the purpose of a business is to make money. Forgot. And I got comfortable. That's another mistake.
Ooh, I feel you on that. It's happened in the past.
Don't get comfortable. And here's an example of getting comfortable. You get a job. You start making good money at that job. You get promoted. You get a raise. You start managing your money right? As me, I know velocity banking really well. I got to the point where it's like I got over 50,000 in available credit in my name. And I'm using this money consistently to kill other debts, to help friends out, to help mom and dad and everyone out. And I got comfortable with my main job, which is producing the most bread, okay? And then I, on my days off and stuff, I was, doing a little stuff here, going one appointment here, 2 appointments there, little
yes,
little building. And then I got fired. Whoa. You
got fired?
I got fired.
When?
Recently.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Wait, how many weeks ago?
It was a very
wow, I didn't even know that.
It was a very personal, like,
you got fired.
Destructive thing for me. I was just like blown away by it. I'm like, me? Really? Of all people, how could I get fired? Never harmed anyone. Never did any bad work. I always produced. Anything can happen. Damn. I got comfortable. This was a sign. I got fired the week that I did that presentation.
Really? Wow, I didn't even... Yeah, you didn't say anything about it.
Didn't say anything about it. But I knew that this was my opportunity. This was my last chance to explode and start that mission and go full force, right? And become uncomfortable in everything, right? Never get comfortable. So that was a failure for me because for the past 2 years, I was doing my own thing. I was velocitizing my money, right? I'm learning about infinite banking. I'm getting my money right. I'm doing me only. And I'm making good money at my job. Things are going right. I got my cash flow. Doing all this stuff. Like good little kid, right? Chopped off the source.
No notice, barely, maybe like 2 weeks, or how'd it happen?
No real notice.
Did you do anything, like, was it a specific incident, or they just
there were specific incidents that happened at my job that I got accused of that I did not do. And the process, like, usually when you work at a job, usually, if you make a mistake, you get a write-up, right? Or a verbal or something like that. Some sort of warning to let you know, hey, Denzel, don't do that. Here you go. We talked about it. Here's your write-up. Boom, you go out about your day. Well, in this case, I believe that either maybe someone just didn't like me. Who knows? Or someone just had it out for me. There's so many variables, right? The things that I got fired for in my job were things that were so, like, little that there were grounds for definitely like a write-up, like a verbal, whatever, You
just got fired.
But, bam, done, And I was just like, whoa. And then I had a conversation with my partner, right? My girl, my love. And then I realized that, don't you see that you're meant to do what you're doing in your business? That here's your opportunity to go out and share value and be of service to people. That was a hinder. Now that doesn't mean I'm not going to go out and find other sources of income. I'm not just going to be this bleeding entrepreneurs, like those solo entrepreneurs that they're just like, no, I can't work for anyone. I have to build my own thing. I have to work for myself.
I have an ego.
I can't.
I'm like,
right?
I can't take orders. I'm a bad employee.
Uh-huh.
Like if I don't like something, I don't think somebody, like I don't respect their opinion, like I cannot listen to them.
Yep.
I'm a bad employee.
It's tough, man, because it's really tough to get past that ego. But when you have a fantasy league, someone like Grant Cardone telling you, listen, how do you go from whatever you're making right now and double it without trying to go through the learning curve where you have to put time, money, and effort into something to learn something to produce the income? That takes time. So how do you create this income now that can fund that simultaneously, right? And then get you to the position where you have permission to quit. You have permission to leave that job because you're doubling your money. You're in the business, and it provides that stability. I would say that discipline that I only work 20 hours in my business part-time starting out. Those 20 hours, that's it. I cut it off. The Instagram's cut off, the Facebook cut off, everything's cut off. No calls. Imagine you building off 20 hours where it doubled the income that you're making at your job. And then all you have to do, quit that job. Now you have 40 hours to spare, to use. Now you can allocate that whole entire 40 and be like most CEOs working 50, 60 hours of business a week in their business. And you just go full-fledged. Or you can allocate, 10 for personal, 10 for education, 20 add on to the business, 40 hours a week. If you were making double off that 20 hours from your off your whatever you're making at your job, you're doubling it from those 20 hours. Dude, just add 20, you double it again, right? It'll double because you're putting in more time, more effort, more education. So yeah, that was a huge eye-opener.
I didn't even know that. That's so crazy.
And failure.
Wow.
Getting fired. Like, I think it'll happen to everyone. I just, I was so prideful, so my ego was so high. I was like, can never fire me, man. They need me.
That's one thing my dad always told me. He's like, if you work at a job,
you are expendable at any time.
Everybody's expendable.
Everyone.
Even the CEO at times.
Even the CEO, yes.
So he's like, I mean, you can work at a job and be successful, but just realize you truly don't have full control over your situation.
Right. I mean, dude.
You really don't.
And it's crazy because we live in the state of Florida. You can just get fired, right? And they don't really have to have
the Thanos snap.
Yeah, you don't really have to have a solid reason, right? So that's even if you make a ton of money at your job, understanding that you are expendable, that if there's a change in the company, someone buys you out, you can get fired merely for not being liked. Not because of your performance.
Yes.
Like, I knew my performance was here because they promoted me in less than 2 years. I got promoted like 3 or 4 times.
But maybe somebody just didn't like you. Someone
just didn't like me. I don't know. Right? It was maybe a rearrangement in the company stand. Who knows? You can't dwell in the past. It happened, right? And I had to get in that mindset. I was like, wait, I have a presentation to do this Friday. I can't let this
get me down.
And I, realized this is what I'm meant to do. I know who I am. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know my passion, my desires, my wants and goals. I know where I'm going, where I'm headed, where I'm going to be. That was the energy and the tools I needed to deliver that presentation, that value to the people that were there, like you. And I'm sure you guys got real good value. I mean, you would never know. This kid just got fired at his job. How the hell is he gonna make money?
Yeah, you're so upbeat, and we went to get donuts after. We were just talking like just normal.
Yeah. Second thing, ask for help.
That's my problem.
That's a big solo entrepreneur failure that most will go through. Asking for help. Get your partner involved. Get your family on board to what you're doing. Make them believe in who you are in 10 years. Right? That's usually why your family and friends don't ever join your business or buy your products, because they don't believe in it. Not because they don't like you or they don't believe that you can do it. It's they just don't see what you see. If you make that belief and you ask for help, become humble, oh my God, that'll save you a ton of time. So I've learned to do that in the past 2 weeks. Ask for help, right? And just focus on what I'm meant to do, and understanding, I need to make money. So whether I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna look for another position, another job in what I'm good at. I'm a good manager. I'm really good at managing people. I'm good at leaving an impact on someone, giving value, and I experienced that. Like right as soon as after I got fired, that same week, man, so many people were texting me. They were like, Denzel, Hefe got fired. What, dude? I was getting these paragraph text messages from guys. I thought I was getting these chick text messages, right? I was getting it from guys. Dude, you left an impact on my life. The things you taught me about personal finance, I'm going to, apply. I can't wait. Things like that. Another person pointed something else out too. Which was Benson. He was like, maybe you got fired because you were making an impact on people's lives in that business. Because if those people, you empower them to become more than the job that they're at, what's going to happen in a few months? They leave. Now, the company can't afford to lose everyone, right? They need to run it. So they have to keep you from the information. No, you just take orders. No, you just do this. Every day I went into work, I was giving value. I was teaching my staff about, how to manage your funds, how to build credit, little tips, boom, boom, boom. How to use your money properly other than saving it. And just all these things. And maybe someone didn't like that at the higher level.
That's an interesting thought.
It can go real deep. And when he presented that to me, I was like, whoa.
It's possible.
Maybe that's true. Maybe I was giving such good value to people there that they were slowly, leaving, going to the military, getting that college degree, starting their own business, getting a better, higher paying job. Right? So it was just all those factors came into play. I was just like, man. So, that's been 2 weeks ago that I've been fired. So now I'm at that point where I got to make that decision. Am I going to quit my business to go find another job, work 50 hours a week, or am I just going to go all in to the business, make it happen, bring that value to people, without desperation? And you don't want to do that. You really want to give value to people. Yes, you make money in the process, but you want to make sure that the purpose of the money and what you're doing is not just to sell the client just the product that they buy. You want to make sure that specific service or offering is going to change and impact their life. I think little things like this, it starts off so.
Yes, and you're starting a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a name or no? Any ideas?
I'm thinking Money Mastery for moms,
I like that.
Or the Personal Finance Geek presents
that.
Money Mastery for you, or for moms, if I'm specifically talking.
That's interesting. I do like the Personal Finance Geek.
Yeah.
Title though.
Yeah, that's
mixing that in somewhere would be good.
Like I'm learning about the headline, the title, and kind of like how to mix it.
Yeah, I know you're talking about bringing value to people and things like that. I think through social media, that's definitely something we're gonna work on, because I'm trying to help you, because you want to add a little personal touch to your social media, but then using the social media, platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. How you build a following is just to build value or give value,
right?
Without any strings attached.
No strings attached.
Like, why do we know these people such as Gary Vee or Grant Cardone? People like that they just add value every day.
Value.
They post videos on YouTube all the time, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, tweeting all the time. Like, they just add value constantly without asking for anything in return. So with that, we feel indebted to them. Like, everything that they say, we listen to, we apply it to our own lives. And then if they want to promote something, you know, like, oh, I have this book, I have this
you're gonna buy
online course. They don't even have to sell anything because they have such a strong brand and such a
the value
is like, they gave so much that everybody here is like, oh my gosh, I feel so indebted. Like, even if I don't need it, I'm still gonna buy it because I just want to, you know, thank him and support him for giving me all this value. But most people, especially our age, we just want to make money now. Like, okay, like, that's cool, like all the social media stuff, but how can I make money now? We're so young. We have 80 years left on this earth.
And look, it's important to make money. You need money. Food, shelter, water.
Yeah.
Right? You supply those things and you humble yourself enough to give value to people, the money will come. It's a universal fact. You give, you shall receive. Right? And when you give, you shall receive tenfold.
I think it's just the patience factor.
The patience,
with people our age, especially because they watch videos of guys like Grant Cardone, who has Bentleys, Rolls Royces, etc. Gary Vee, who, you know, he's not very fancy, but he still lives a great life. We see videos of guys like that. We're like, oh man, like,
but look at their stories.
I want to get like that, like now.
Yeah,
now,
but look at their stories.
Look at the stories.
They started later than you, and it took them anywhere from 20 to 30 years just to master whatever they're doing. Grant Cardone, he says it took me 30 years to get where he's at today. But
nobody wants to take the time. They just want what's hot now. So that's why you see people like, oh, I'm a cryptocurrency expert, or I'm a social media expert, I'm a financial expert, I'm this and that. I mean, there's a lot of experts that are looking to make money now, but like, how's that going to affect your brand in the next 5, 10, 20 years? Like, what are you doing today to build your brand for the future?
Right.
It's when you're going to have kids and a wife and like a home that you have to pay rent on and cars, and that's when you're really going to need the money. Because now we're young. I mean, there may be some kids that live on their own, but a lot of kids nowadays are like 18, 20, even 22. They live at home. They don't pay rent. They have to pay for food, gas, things like that. But
capitalize on
the bills aren't capitalize on it. The bills aren't crazy expensive. Right. You know, they're not too high. So now's the time to not take any money that's left over and, you know, spend it on stuff, because you're going to be stuck in that position. And then when you have to move out, you're going to have to use credit, and you're just going to be in a bad spot. Right. So anybody that's young, that has a business, start building the foundation with content. YouTube, Instagram TV, podcast, anything.
Big time.
Just you don't have to like give advice to people, because you could say, oh, why would I take your advice? You're so young. And say, okay, I'm just giving my 2 cents. I'm just giving my opinion.
I'm sharing. You
can listen, or you can't. You know, you can turn it off.
Yeah, I don't give advice.
Yeah,
you know?
I
share value.
Just share the value. Give your opinion on things. Put it out on all these different platforms. Start getting the exposure, and then by the time you're 25, 35, 45, you're gonna have such a strong brand that whatever you do is gonna be successful, because you have such a big following.
Big time.
That's why I try to promote to people, and you understand it, and a few other people get it, like that are clients. But many business people that are older, they just look at, okay, yeah, like that's cool, but I'm looking at return on investment. Like, I don't see the return on investment here. And they're just thinking short term, like quarter to quarter, or even month to month, revenue and expenses. And I understand that. It's important. Yeah. Although you're going to spend more in the long term by running advertisements, even if it's on Facebook, which is inexpensive. But by doing flyers, promotions, bus benches, billboards, whatever type of advertising you do, in the long term, if you don't focus on brand building through valuable content, you're going to be spending more in the long term, because you don't have a brand. You're going to have to keep getting people, like, you're going to have to shove it in their face. You're like, here's this offer, here's this promotion, 15% off. Like, you're going to have to shove it in their face to be known. But that's, you know, it can work. You're going to get leads, you can get sales in the short term. But long term, to really build that brand, build the community, you need to, you know, maybe not focus on that so much and just focus on the content.
Right.
Focus on video, image, audio,
right.
written word. All these, there's so many different platforms nowadays. Like, it's just hard to explain to people that have that, you know, maybe old-fashioned mindset where it's like, oh, you need to like advertise. Nobody really cares about content or this and that. Like, they just don't understand it. So it's a little difficult from my point of view, because that's why I really like to promote, you know, because I do Facebook advertisements for people and they work, but I also am like, okay, like that's, you know, it's working, like that's great, but like what about your brand long term? Like, how can we work on making maybe some videos? Like, if you're a chiropractor, make some videos on different stretches and different mobilizations that people can do at home.
Right.
Just give the value for free. Maybe for a personal trainer, can we, you know, show people different exercises? Can we take videos showing people different exercises? And then with those videos, make that into an article? Like, I'm just, like, that's where my mind is, you know?
Keeps
like,
going.
just keeps going, you know?
What I know, by nature, by starting the race to success, right? By nature, you'll win if you don't quit, right? You'll win if you don't quit. It's another thing that my fantasy league tells me is like, look, while everyone else is trying to make the quick dollar, focus on giving value, creating that content. Just like Gary Vaynerchuk says, you know, create that content, be there, be visible, you know, give the value, be of service
to people, comment back. It's insane
Connect.
how people, they think they're big time with like 2,000 followers. So
don't.
they get like maybe 5 or 10 comments a post, and they get some DMs here and there, and they don't reply.
Dude, you're
Like,
missing out.
I don't have time for that.
Oh, you're missing out. That's business.
They're just commenting. I don't have time for it. You don't have time to comment with your community at 2,000 followers. How do you expect to grow to 20,000 or 200,000 followers?
Yeah, those people, they're focusing on the money.
You're like, oh, I don't have time for it. It's not worth my time. Okay, sure. We'll see in 10 years how that works out. So, but dude, it was great to have you on.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. And where can people
awesome.
find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Denzel N. Rodriguez.
So at Denzel N. Rodriguez.
Yeah, or email me, man, denzel@buildertocontributor.com. And I have a website. My team has a website, actually. So I think it's important to have a team whenever you're starting out. And people, you can go to www.ycashvaluelife.com, and you can see what my team's about, what they're doing. We teach for free, educate for free. Right.
Cool. And you're gonna start posting. I'm working with you on it. You're gonna start posting. You're gonna start posting some value.
Yes, I'm gonna
posting some valuable content on your Instagram.
I'm starting
at Denzel and Rodriguez.
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man.
All right.